The Department of Justice is so thoroughly gutted of its lawyers and staff because they've all quit that now the DOJ is relying on military lawyers from JAG and not the lawyers from the Department of Justice to help them because nobody's working at the DOJ anymore. You can't make this stuff up, as Josh Gerstein reports. Despite moves by Trump to ease the surge in Minnesota, military lawyers have started taking over for civilian prosecutors in federal court there. Okay, so they have individuals dressed in military gear, ICE and Border Patrol, Gestapo, invading Minneapolis, invading St. Paul, and now they have military lawyers acting as the prosecutors because there's no one working at the DOJ anymore. So it says military lawyers taking over the prosecution. Dude, you can't make this stuff up. In federal criminal cases stemming from Trump's immigration crackdown. You mean his invasion? I hate when they use words like immigration crackdown, stemming from his invasion in Minnesota. Judge Advocate General Corps attorneys signed on to replace the civilian prosecutors in several cases on Wednesday. Now, this follows a federal judge in Minneapolis having the following exchange with that lawyer, Julie Yee. Remember, she's the lawyer who said, "My job sucks. I want to get out of here. I don't want to work anymore." Here's what the federal judge said to Yee. If the government undertakes an enforcement operation of this scale, one that results in the detention of a large number of people, including individuals who are lawfully present in the United States, then the government assumes a corresponding obligation to ensure that each detention complies with the Constitution and with court orders governing release. The judge went on to say, having what you feel are too many detainees, too many cases, too many deadlines, and not enough infrastructure to keep up with it all is not a defense to continued detention. If anything, it ought to be a warning sign. But what you cannot do, and he's talking to that lawyer, Julie Yee, remember her? She was the immigration lawyer who was also filling in because there's no more federal prosecutors. And she said, "My job sucks. Please detain me. Hold me in contempt so I can get some sleep." The judge says, but what you cannot do is detain first and then sort out the lawful authority later. Continued detention is not lawful just because compliance with release orders is administratively difficult for you. And then Julie Yee gets up and she goes, okay. Just to have some background, I was put on this special mission to help with the U.S. Attorney's Office with all the habeas claims that they have received. In other words, the habeas petitions to release people, petitioning under habeas corpus to release people who have been unlawfully detained. And some of these could be U.S. citizens, people who are lawfully here, people who have not received any detention hearings. Then Julie Yee says, they're overwhelmed. They need help. So I have to say, stupidly enough, to volunteer. I started with the agency on January the 5th. As of today, it's been more than 4 weeks. I just got my card. I'm in the DOJ system as of yesterday. Then the judge says, where are you working before? I was working for the Department of Homeland Security as an ICE attorney in the immigration court. Then the judge goes on to say, so are you telling the court that you were brought in brand new into this role and you received no proper orientation or training on what you're supposed to do? The lawyer, Julie Yee, says, I have to say yes to that question, Your Honor. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. That's a transcript from a person as a federal prosecutor. And meanwhile, 14 more people apparently have resigned this year from the DOJ in the Minneapolis office. I didn't even know that there was 14 more people to resign. I thought everyone's gone. But here, let's play this clip from this morning.
This morning, the Minnesota Star Tribune reporting that 14 attorneys have either left or announced they will leave the Minnesota U.S. Attorney's Office this year. Reminder, this is only the first week of February. The massive departure is unprecedented, and it stems from a laundry list of demands on that office from the Department of Justice and the refusal to initiate a civil rights investigation into the killing of Renee Good by an ICE officer.
I want to bring in Harry Litman from the Talking Feds YouTube channel, the Talking Feds podcast, and the Talking Feds Substack. Now, Harry, a lot of people have been focusing on that exchange, the salacious details of Julie Yee, the lawyer for the DOJ, saying, "Hold me in contempt. I haven't slept." That was the. But when you read deeper into the transcript, she's actually talking about something far more dangerous. That she volunteered, she says, because she wanted to actually try to help some of these people, these immigrants and these citizens who are locked up, who have filed habeas petitions, who have been ordered by judges to be released. So she said that she's an immigrant herself. Her parents came in from Vietnam and she moved here when she was 1993. So she's saying, I wanted to actually help with the habeas petitions because people are being locked up for months and months and months after Your Honor told them to leave. And I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And nobody's returning my calls. And I'm trying to keep up with all the petitions. And there's nobody who I can report to. So, Harry, there are people locked up right now in concentration camps in the United States trying to get out, who judges like this federal judge and others have ordered out, but they're staying stuck because of the administrative backlog, because there are no lawyers. That was the bigger story in that Julie Yee exchange, Harry.
That's exactly right. So look, she put it in colorful words and you couldn't help but sort of quote it. And you can't make this up, kind of a comic aspect, but it is tragicomic in at least a couple ways. First, they have flooded Minnesota with all these, hundreds and thousands of actions. This was one of the points that the chief judge made. You didn't come to us. You've given us no kinds of preparation. When you do a big job like this, you always sort of coordinate with the bench. But much more than that, the entire place this is like apocalyptic. I've never seen, and the only competition would be over this last year, the people who quit at Public Integrity, the people who quit at the criminal section of the Civil Rights Division, but a whole office, the vote of no confidence. People are used to serving different Republican or Democratic officials and political who tell them what to do, take certain positions. This is way past that. You have a complete rogue agency that literally will not, the chief judge in Minnesota said, you've violated more orders in January than most agencies have done in their entire lifetime. This is just some combination of fecklessness and just they don't care kind of callousness has made them continue to flood the zone with no allowance at all for what's going on in the courts. And think about it. Somebody has to step up. There's no lawyers there now. Somebody has to step up and explain what's going on, make a legal position, or otherwise judges can't even rule. That essential safeguard is just gone. And the Department of Justice has abdicated that role mainly because it's been, it's been leveled down to the studs and now not even the studs. So the abject failure, and then just it's beyond embarrassing. You have a whole office that has said, you guys we cannot work for you. That's a really serious thing for even a single AUSA to say. And this is now en masse. This is just, you guys have completely ruined this place. Oh, and by the way, we're not even, don't even come to us and try to support your Operation Ice Storm or whatever it is. We're gone, and good luck trying to just corral ICE and have them follow the rules of the game that courts are setting. They're just beyond law in both practically and legally now.
Harry, one of the things to mention, though, is that now they're using military lawyers. So right. It seems what they tried to do is use immigration lawyers from ICE and people who who are not skilled in being federal prosecutors. I mean, there's a lot of training that goes into federal prosecutors. It's very hard to become an AUSA. It's not like you could just plug in anybody to be an assistant United States attorney. I mean, the training is rigorous. You know, in many ways, it is a Navy SEALs style training of federal prosecutorial world. And so now they're like, well, wait a minute. We can't pull from the immigration lawyers because this is what's happening. So where can we pull from? And now they're pulling from JAG, but there's a whole different set of like, it's not the same body of law. I mean, yes, you're a lawyer, but JAG lawyers follow a JAG handbook of court marshaling and military discipline and laws of engagement, and they have to know admiralty law and naval stuff. Like, it's a whole different area versus federal civilian lawyers. It's different types of law. Like, I couldn't all of a sudden, as a civil lawyer, start to function as a copyright lawyer immediately, or function as a a patent attorney. Like, so you're putting people in here who have to now learn the federal rules of criminal procedure at its most basic level. Like, what's Rule 1? What's Rule 6B? What's a grant? The most basic stuff. Yes, you can learn it, but like, what's happening now with all the violent crimes? What's happening with the fraud case?
So all of public safety in Minneapolis is being compromised, but it's even worse than you say, Ben. Look, here's the normal process. You hire very good people. Now they're all gone, and we did a different tape where you see, they're trying on Twitter, anybody come on down, any warm body, so that you start there. But even if you put in someone with no experience, it'd be 18 months until they're actually in the position that Julie Lee was in, that on their feet. First, you shadow someone, maybe you handle an appeal, etc. So you would have the whole 18 months. And then here, as best we can tell, and I think she's really saying it straight, there's not even a crash course. It's just, oh yeah, here you go into court, just, I don't know, tell them something. And of course, they're dealing with a client who, because of the political priorities of the administration and because of the whole culture that they are championing, the client won't deal with the DOJ lawyers. If you read that whole transcript, part of it is, nobody at ICE will answer my calls. Nobody will do anything. This whole linchpin of the system is just gone. And the Department of Justice in certain areas is just gone, and God knows how to even think about putting the pieces back together again. But in the meantime, as you say, public safety suffers in Minneapolis, but also people suffer in these detention centers where they, maybe have been ordered to be released. Some of them are citizens. They're just not doing it. And the courts can't keep up. Nobody can keep up because this one funnel has been shut down by a completely destroyed Department of Justice. It's a mess without any remote precedent.
Who's benefiting a lot from this? Criminal defendants, by the way, who are presumed innocent until found guilty. But it must be a field day for the criminal defense bar right now in federal cases. I mean, just think about all the deals that are probably being cut behind the scenes because there's no DOJ lawyers who can handle cases. Lawyers who were used to, if you're a criminal defense lawyer, you go, okay, we'll take you to trial. And then they're not ready to, you declare ready for trial. Don't do extensions. Say you're ready to go. Force the DOJ to hand your client a plea deal where they, no jail time just because there's no staff. It's like what they're doing with the IRS. Trump hated to pay taxes. He cuts the IRS. Trump's a criminal. He guts the DOJ. There's a broader pattern right here, Harry.
14 months ago, this was without doubt the biggest, best law firm in the world. 115,000 people who knew what they were doing, people who the justice system relied on for, every part of, including victims. It's just a post-apocalyptic landscape there. It's zombie land.
Everybody subscribe to Harry Litman's YouTube channel, Talking Feds, his Substack, Talking Feds, and his podcast, Talking Feds. Harry is traveling, but he was nice enough to do this with us while traveling. Thanks, Harry.
Pleasure. Thanks, Ben.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.